Good afternoon to you all. Today we are going to discuss the topic Pharmacovigilance Part 1. Today's point of discussion are introduction, aims, goals and objectives, recently banned drugs in India, need of pharmacovigilance, governing bodies of pharmacovigilance, methods of pharmacovigilance, pharmacovigilance inspection, and lastly ADRS. Now coming to the first point, that is introduction. Not all hazards can be known before a drug is marketed and used widely by the general population. Many additional risks and additional benefits are only identified after the drug is widely used by a large community of the people. Clinical trials conducted prior to drug approval cannot uncover every aspect of health of the approved drug. For example, teratogenic effects, seal baby of thalidomide, isotretinoin were observed only after post-marketing evaluation. Other examples, fenfluramine, phentermine cause pulmonary hypertension and valvular heart disease, liver toxicity with troglitazone. All these ADRS are observed only after post-marketing evaluation. So, during the new drug marketing period of 4 years, the manufacturer is expected to report new information about the drug like rare side effects observed, a new drug interaction revealed, or even a new clinical use detected by a chance recovery. Hence, during the first 4 years of marketing a new drug, the manufacturer has to submit the periodic safety update reports PSURS every 6 months for first 2 years and then once annually for the next 2 years, after that every 3 years. So, submission frequency for PSURS is first 2 years every 6 months, next 2 years every year, that is annually, after that every 3 years. On the basis of PSURS, regulatory authorities take the appropriate decision for marketing of particular medicinal product. Now coming to the topic pharmacovigilance. What is pharmacovigilance? According to World Health Organization, it is defined as the science and activities related to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of both short and long term adverse effects or any other drug related problems, and generally refers to the continuous monitoring of unwanted effects and other safety related aspects of marketed drugs. Now coming to the next point, aims of pharmacovigilance, which are to improve patient care and safety, to improve public health and safety, to contribute the assessment of benefit, harm, effectiveness and risk of medicines, to promote education and clinical training, to promote rational and safe use of medicines. Now coming to the next point, goals and objectives of pharmacovigilance. Goal is to ensure that the benefits of use of medicine and medicinal equipments outweigh the risk. Objectives of pharmacovigilance include to improve patient care, public health and their safety, to monitor ADRS in Indian population, to create awareness amongst health professionals about the importance of ADR reporting in India, to monitor benefit risk profile of medicine approved, marketed and used in country, generate independent evidence-based recommendations of the safety of medicines, communicate safety-related findings of medicines to all stakeholders, to support the CDSCO in formulating safety-related regulatory decisions for medicines, and lastly, to create a national center of excellence at par with global drug safety monitoring standards. Now coming to the next point, recently banned drugs in India. These are serodiagnostic test kit for diagnosis of tuberculosis with effect from 7 June 2013. Dextropropoxyphene with effect from 23rd May 2013. Fixed dose combination of flupentixol plus melitrazine with effect from 18 June 2013. Enalgine with effect from 18 June 2013 and pioglitazone with effect from 18 June 2013. Now look at list of some drugs withdrawn after post-marketing evaluation. Here on left hand side drugs withdrawn are shown, and on the right hand side their relative ADR has been shown. First drug, thalidomide in 1961, withdrawn due to congenital limb defects as ADR. Benoxaprofen in 1982 due to ADR hepatotoxicity. Fenformin in 1982 due to ADR lactic acidosis. Fenfluramine in 1997 due to ADR heart valve abnormalities. Estemizole due to ADR many drug interactions. Phenylpropanolamine in 2000 due to ADR hemorrhagic strokes. Kava due to ADR liver abnormalities. Serivastatin due to rhabdomyolysis. Cisapride due to ADR cardiac arrhythmia. Rofecoxib in 2004 due to ADR cardiovascular events and serious skin reactions. Clobutinol in 2007 due to ADR cardiac arrhythmia. Now coming to the next point, need of pharmacovigilance. Question arises, what is the need of pharmacovigilance? These are humanitarian grounds. Animal toxicology is of not a good predictor for human effects. Evidence of safety from clinical trials is insufficient due to some limitations. Limitations of phase 1 to 3 clinical trials are limited size, narrow population, age and sex specific, narrow indications, only a specific disease, and short duration. Second need is for safe use of medicines. Adverse drug reactions are responsible for a large number of human deaths throughout the world. Third point is ADRs are expensive. Treatment of adverse drug reactions are expensive. Next point is promoting rational use of medicines, and other next need is ensuring public confidence, and next need is ethical concern. Not reporting a serious ADR is unethical. Animal and human trials of new drug without permission of ethical committee is not allowed. Now coming to the next point, governing bodies of pharmacovigilance. Governing bodies are the pharmaceutical industry, the regulatory authorities, World Health Organization Collaborating Center for International Drug Monitoring, CIOMS, that is Council for International Organization of Medical Sciences. Now look at this descriptive chart showing regulatory authorities and their role and function. First authority, that is Drug Controller General of India. Their role is execution of National Pharmacovigilance Program in India. Next authority is CDSCO, that is Central Drug Standard Control Organization, and their role is to execute under the supervision of National Pharmacovigilance Advisory Committee. Next authority is ICMR, that is Council of Medical Research. The role is to finalize the nutrient requirements and recommended dietary allowances for Indians. Next authority is National Pharmacovigilance Advisory Committee, and its function is to collect, monitor and report the ADRs to aware the health professionals and consumers regarding the adverse drug reaction if reported by any of the drugs marketed in India. Fifth regulatory authority is Ministry of Health and Family Welfare of Government of India. It is an autonomous body for finalizing the standards for all categories of drug manufactured and marketed in India. And sixth regulatory authority is CBN, that is Central Bureau of Narcotics, and it executes the clinical trials that are performed on narcotic drugs along with the compliance of manufacturing, storage, import and export of the narcotic drugs. Now coming to the next point, methods of pharmacovigilance, which include individual case safety reports, clinical review of case reports, cohort event monitoring, longitudinal electronic patient records, spontaneous reporting, PSUR, that is periodic safety update reports, expedited reports, and lastly record linkage. Now coming to the first method, individual case safety reports. Its usefulness and accuracy depends upon the skill and experience of the reporter and the documentation and characteristics of the events. Coming to the next method, that is clinical review of case reports. The quality of reports is variable. Large national and international organizations collect hundreds to thousands of reports each year, every one of which cannot possibly be reviewed by available experts. Even if each report could be reviewed, important reporting patterns would be missed. That is why most urgent problems are preferably highlighted while reporting. Now coming to the third method, cohort event monitoring. It is follow-up of event monitoring of selected medicinal products. Its limitations are its restriction to a small group of medicinal products, the relatively small fraction of population covered by them. Next method is longitudinal electronic patient records. It is extremely valuable, however underused. They cover large population, provide detailed information on both exposed and unexposed patients. Information is collected directly from the computer system containing patients' data of so many physicians. Privacy protection for patients and physicians should be essentially maintained. Now coming to the next fifth method, that is spontaneous reporting. The reporting may be directly to the company or to the regulatory authority. Main limitation is under-reporting. However, its main purpose is to find out signals, not the quantification of the frequency of reporting. When adverse drug reactions is serious, healthcare providers, pharmacies, pharmaceutical companies should report the health authorities without delay, preferably within 7 days. Reporters should submit reports by post, fax, or via internet. In urgent situations, verbal reports, that is telephonic reports, can be given, but written submission should be completed within a limited time period. Now coming to the next method, periodic safety update reports, PSURs, now called as PRER, that is periodic benefit risk evaluation report, since 21st July 2012, are pharmacovigilance documents intended to provide an evaluation of the risk-benefit balance of a medicinal product for submission at defined time points during the post-authorization phase. The PSURs should focus on summary information, scientific safety assessment, and integrated benefit risk evaluation. License holders should collect post-marketing safety data, prepare PSUR, and then submit them to the health authority. If PSUR is not submitted timely, then license of the concerned drug of the pharmaceutical company involved can be cancelled. Next method is expedited reports. Expedited report means reporting within a specified time. If there has been a spontaneous reporting of a suspected ADR to a pharmaceutical company, there are legal obligations on the company to report serious reactions within a specified time frame to the regulatory authority. Depending upon the results of drug safety assessment, license holders should report to the health authorities in an expedited manner. Other method is record linkage. It contains a variety of patient records. A specific example is prescription event monitoring scheme. Though less expensive, it is a time-consuming method. Now coming to the next point, pharmacovigilance inspection. It is of two types, routine inspection and targeted inspection. Routine inspection, pharmaceutical companies have the ability to perform pharmacovigilance activities. Targeted inspections, it consists of two different activities which are inspections irrelevant to drug safety. These include companies that have not yet been inspected, companies that have launched their first product, companies which are newly merged with another company. Another point is inspections relevant to drug safety. Companies which delay or fail to take their obligations on safety monitoring. Companies which delay to submit or have submitted incomplete PSURs. Companies which fail to report drug safety related issues like drug withdrawal without reporting. Now coming to the next point, ADRs, that is adverse drug reactions. Adverse drug reactions, it is unwanted effect of a drug. World Health Organization definition of ADRs: any response which is noxious, unintended and which occurs at doses normally used in humans for prophylaxis, diagnosis, or therapy of disease or for modification of physiological functions is called ADR. We have already discussed types and classification of adverse drug reactions in details in previous classes. Now look at this diagram showing and representing suspected adverse drug reaction reporting form. For voluntary reporting of adverse drug reactions by healthcare professionals formulated and issued by CDSCO, that is Central Drug Standard Control Organization. CDSCO runs under the guidance of Directorate General of Health Services. On the left upper corner of the form, the address of CDSCO is present, while the right upper corner of the form have a space for AMC report number and worldwide unique number to be filled by AMC or NCC when suspected ADR has been reported to them. Casualty assessment of the suspected ADR can be done at AMC level, but at NCC level it is essentially performed and also analyzed and compared with same type of adverse drug reactions of same medications reported worldwide available at database. The whole form has been divided into 4 sections, namely A, B, C and D, containing 18 points that are to be filled. Section A is the first section where information about patient has to be filled, such as patient initials, age or date of birth of the patient, sex of the patient and body weight. Altogether, this section contains 4 points. Coming to the next section B, where details about suspected adverse drug reaction like date of reaction started, date of recovery and description of the problem has to be filled. This section constitutes of 3 points in total. Now coming to the section C, which demand details about suspected medications, which has to be filled in points from 8 to 15. Point 8 asks for details about one or more medications when used concurrently under 9 headings such as brand name or generic name, name of the manufacturer company, batch number or lot number of the drug marketed, expiry date, details about dose used, frequency of dosing, therapy dates and reason for indications of that very drug. In point number 9, details about reaction abated after stopping the drug or reducing its dose has to be filled under 5 headings. In point number 10, details about reaction reappeared after reintroduction of the drug after a temporary stopped period has to be filled. Point 11 demands details about self-medication and herbal remedies used by the patient or complaints other than adverse drug reaction. In point 12, details about relevant tests and investigations reports with their dates such as blood and urine test reports, ECG reports, radiological findings like X-rays, ultrasound, MRI, CT scan, etc. has to be filled in. In point 13, details about history for pre-existing medical conditions such as allergy, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, thyroid dysfunction, renal and hepatic dysfunction, and also about race, pregnancy, smoking, drug abuse, etc. has to be filled. In point 14, details about the seriousness of the reaction, like death, life-threatening, hospitalization, initial disability, congenital anomaly, etc. has to be filled. In point 15, outcomes of the suspected adverse drug reaction are filled up point-wise. Now coming to the last section of the form, which is section D, which is confidential. Section D consists of 3 points, 16, 17 and 18, which are to be filled. Under point 16, details about the reporter has to be filled by himself or herself, like name and professional addresses of the reporter, email, occupation and signature of the reporter. Under point 17, information about the casualty assessment has to be filled, in which suspected adverse drug reaction reported is assessed by applying different casualty assessing scales, such as Manjot scale, where 10 questions are asked and answers are given in yes or no. And so maximum score is 10. When the score is 9 or more than 9, there is very high chance of positive suspected adverse drug reaction report. Casualty assessment is either done at AMC or NCC. And lastly, in the point 18, date of the reporting is filled. Now look at the back side of the suspected ADR reporting form, where guidelines about reporting has been mentioned broadly in 6 different points. Adverse experiences following any medication should be reported. Second point mentions that you should report serious adverse reaction, and ADR is called serious when the patient outcome is one or more of the following, such as death, life-threatening, hospitalization of the patient, disability which may be significant, persistent or permanent, congenital anomaly, required medical intervention to prevent permanent damage. Third point mentions that one can also report any adverse reaction even though it is not certain whether it is due to medications or not. In the front side of the form, points number 1, 5, 7, 8, 11, 15, 16 and 18 are mandatory to be filled. Fourth point mentions that any healthcare professionals like doctors, dentists, nurses, pharmacists, etc. can report a suspected ADR. Fifth point mentions that where reporting should be done. Reporting is done at the AMC and also to NCC. One can find the list of nationwide AMC at the mentioned web address in point 5. Sixth point mentioned that what happens to the submitted information. Information provided in this form is handled in strict confidence. The casualty assessment is carried out at adverse drug reaction monitoring centers, that is AMC, by using World Health Organization UMC scale. The analyzed forms are forwarded to the National Coordinating Center (NCC) through the ADR database. Finally, the data is analyzed and forwarded to the Global Pharmacovigilance database managed by World Health Organization Uppsala Monitoring Center in Sweden. The reports are periodically reviewed by the National Coordinating Center. The information generated on the basis of these reports help in continuous assessment of the benefit-risk ratio of medicines. The information is submitted to the Steering Committee of the Pharmacovigilance Programs of India, constituted by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The committee is entrusted with the responsibility to review the data and suggest any interventions that may be required. On the right side at the bottom, address of the NCC and details about the confidentiality of the patient and the reporter has been mentioned. Identity of the patient and the reporter should not be disclosed by the medical professionals and other stakeholders. Now coming to the steps of ADR monitoring. These are identifying adverse drug reactions, assessing causality, documentation of ADR, and fourth one, reporting serious ADRs to PV centers and ADR regulatory authorities. Now coming to the next topic, different scales for causality assessment. These are Naranjo's algorithm, Kurtz-Lasagna's algorithm, World Health Organization probability scale, Spanish quantitative imputation scale, Kramer's scale, Jones scale, European ABO system, and Bayesian system. Out of these, important is World Health Organization probability scale and Naranjo's algorithm. Now look at this descriptive chart showing Naranjo's scale for causality assessment of suspected ADR reported. This scale consists of 10 different questions which have to be answered in yes, no, or do not know. For answer of each question, a definite score is there. Now we have a look at these questions with their respective scores. Question 1. Are there previous conclusive reports on this reaction? If answer is yes, the score is +1. If answer is no, the score is 0. If answer is do not know, again the score is 0. Question 2. Did the adverse event appear after the suspected drug was administered? If answer is yes, the score is +2. If answer is no, the score is -1. If do not know, the score is 0. Third question. Did the adverse event improve when the drug was discontinued or a specific antagonist was administered? If answer is yes, the score is +1. If no, the score is 0. If do not know, again the score is 0. Question 4. Did the adverse event reappear when the drug was re-administered? If the answer is yes, the score is +2. If answer is no, the score is -1. If do not know, the score is 0. Question number 5. Are there alternative causes that could on their own have caused the reaction? If the answer is yes, the score is -1. If the answer is no, the score is plus 2. And if do not know, the score is 0. Sixth question, did the reaction reappear when a placebo was given? If the answer is yes, the score is minus 1. If answer is no, the score is plus 1. If do not know, the score is 0. For question 7, was the drug detected in blood or other fluids in concentrations known to be toxic? If answer is yes, the score is plus 1. If answer is no, the score is 0. If answer is do not know, again the score is 0. Question number 8. Was the reaction more severe when the dose was increased or less severe when the dose was decreased? If the answer is yes, the score is plus 1. If answer is no, the score is 0. If do not know, again score is 0. Question number 9. Did the patient have a similar reaction to the same or similar drugs in any previous exposure? If the answer is yes, the score is plus 1. If answer is no, the score is 0. If answer is do not know, again the score is 0. Question number 10. Was the adverse event confirmed by any objective evidence? If the answer is yes, the score is plus 1. If answer is no, the score is 0. If do not know, again score is 0. Here we see that if the answer is in do not know, then the score is always 0. Now look at this chart showing total score with their interpretation. When the total score is 9 or more than 9, then it is definite. The reaction followed a reasonable temporal sequence after drug exposure had been established in body fluids or tissues. The reaction followed a recognized response to the suspected drug. The reaction was confirmed by improvement on withdrawing the drug, and the reaction reappeared on re-exposure. When the total score is in between 5 and 8, then it is probable. The reaction followed a reasonable temporal sequence after a drug exposure. The reaction followed a recognized response to the suspected drug. The reaction was confirmed by withdrawal but not by exposure to the drug, and the reaction could not be reasonably explained by the known characteristics of the patient's clinical state. When the total score is in between 1 and 4, then it is possible. The reaction followed a temporal sequence after a drug exposure, possibly followed a recognized pattern to the suspected drug, and the reaction could be explained by characteristics of the patient's disease. When the score is 0 or below 0, then it is doubtful. The reaction was likely related to factors other than a drug. The Naranjo scale is a tool to help clarify how to evaluate a potential causal association. It is not intended to solve all the complex problems of identification and classification of adverse drug reactions. Now coming to the next topic, Hartwig and Siegel scale for assessing the severity of ADR. Mild ADRs are self-limiting and do not contribute to prolongation of length of hospital stay. Moderate ADRs require therapeutic intervention or hospital admission or prolonged hospital stay by at least 1 day. Severe ADRs, life-threatening, requiring intensive medical care or produce disability or lead to death. Thanks to you all.